Hey, hello, people, people of Earth. Um, it is there's another weather advisory. It seems like every day now we have a weather advisory here, but this one is interesting because it's for dense fog, and the way it's described is you may not be able to see in the weather report. Um, Now, you guys have been here with me many times. This is a field, and they're actually growing some kind of crop here this year, which is new and different. But what I want to show is I've shown this scene and this view of the airport many times. We are right at the end of runway 29 here. And you go across this field, I'm going to say that's about 600 feet, between 600 and 800 feet from here to the lights at the end of the runway. And you can't see anything past that. You can barely see the end of the runway. You might see the strobes demarking the end of the runway for any airplanes that are landing in that direction. And I think the beacon, you can see the beacon, but check this out. Look at how bad the visibility is here, concerning, including the field. Okay, the field is a good context for the distance. And there is no visibility here, and a jet just took off, and there is no visibility from the ground up. I'd say the visibility is, well, it's less than half a mile, maybe a quarter of a mile. And an uncontrolled airport, a high-powered jet taking off with no visibility? Check this out. So here's the field, right there. There goes a Martin Brower truck, which has just at the top of the hill here a distribution center. But look, the airport, you can barely see the strobes flashing at the end of the runway, and I was trying to see the beacon, because even though they're uncontrolled, they have to have a really good rotating beacon. And you can't see that through the fog. Oh, I think maybe I just saw a glimpse of it. But there's no visibility, literally. The visibility is maybe a quarter of a mile at the most. And if you're juicing it on a runway for takeoff, you're getting up to takeoff speed, takeoff power, and you can't see anything on the runway, there could be a deer there, or it's foolish. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. If I was a person that hired that airplane, it's supposed to clear up around 9 o'clock. And that being said, I don't know exactly what time it is right now, but I'm going to say it's like 7, maybe quarter after, 20 after 7 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. It is July 7th, 1997. I mean 2023. There's so many anniversary dates every year for me. 30 years ago was the year of my divorce, and there is nothing more traumatic. Although this thing with Fatso right now it's awful. It's just awful. But nothing like losing your marriage, losing my family. My children were ripped away from me. My youngest son was 2 years old when he was ripped away from me, and we never did live together after that. We know each other. There's been problems. Anyway, yeah, so today's July 7th. And for my career, which was everything to me, my career, because I had to support my children. I paid child support for 17 years, okay? I'm not complaining. It had to be. It costs money to raise kids. And if the kids are from a broken marriage and the custody, and they're really young when we got the divorce, so the custody automatically went to the mother. The mother was borderline, how do you call it? I wonder if Alzheimer's is setting in. I was trying to remember the word Alzheimer's yesterday, and I couldn't remember the word. And so when I finally figured it out, I texted out and I said, if you can't remember the word Alzheimer's, does that mean you have it? That's almost Dangerfield quality. Oh, Dangerfield. I gotta write down his best jokes that I love the best. So many good ones. Okay. Yeah, so my career completely 26 years ago to tonight, okay, during the day, I'm driving the courtesy shuttle for Saturn, full-time, no minimum wage, no benefits, but at night, I'm full-time, no benefits, working for Intermedia Marketing, and Steve Tudor had disappeared, and I was working with him. We were a pair that stayed at Intermedia Marketing till like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and one supervisor doing data entry. You get to know somebody sitting next to you when you're doing data entry for 4.5 hours or 5 hours. I got to know Steve, and then suddenly he just walked out, didn't say goodbye, didn't say anything. And I knew he got something good, and I'm still pissed and bitter about that. I really am. Because you can't say goodbye. Are you kidding? What kind of person are you? What are you? I don't know. Anyway, so 26 years ago to tonight, Steve reappears because he needed cash. He was starting his new job at Bell Atlantic. It was a Monday. The July 7th of '97 was a Monday, and he was starting his new job at Bell Atlantic the upcoming Thursday. But it was the July 4th weekend that we're coming off of, and I know he blew too much money doing whatever, partying, and he came back, and maybe he just had nothing else to do. So he comes back to IMM. He calls them the morning of the 7th and says, "Can I come back and work for you guys for 3 days and before I start my new job on Thursday?" And they said, "Yeah," because he was with them for a year and a half, and I guess that's cool. You know what? He stayed with that company. There was no pressure. I don't know how he survived on minimum wage. I don't know how anybody survived. Well, you don't. Excuse me, you don't. And I do know because I worked minimum wage at this time 26 years ago, 80 hours a week. I'm kind of proud of that, but at the same time, it wasn't very difficult because compared to working at UPS, oh, jeez, what a difference. I made the right move walking off the job at UPS, and I wouldn't have done that if they hadn't, like, openly and flagrantly committed age discrimination against me. The supervisors, my colleagues, all of them, because I was the oldest guy on the team there. And well, anyway, I finally figured out I should leave there. A little light bulb went off over my head. And thanks to that, and the sequence of totally unlikely and impossible events up to today, I got an unbelievable career at Bell Atlantic. You know, if I don't get that career, and I'm bumping around minimum wage, and my track record for income is like my photography career, I would be struggling more than what I'm struggling now. I'm in a shithole of a place to live right now, but still, you know, I've got a shot at going out on top because of my savings. It's not a definite, but it's a shot. And I got this little guy here. Hey, Harvey, you want to say hi to your fans? Hey, you want to say hi to your fans? You got to do some exotic dancing, some erotic dancing for your girly dog friends today. It's hard to put into context and into words. It really is. Okay, what the hell is that thing that just came up here? Okay, there you go. Because it's hard to relate to a situation like that unless you're the one that's involved. And frankly, I don't know if I'd be interested or bored listening to a story like this. To me, it's unbelievable. My life has just been unbelievable. Good and terrible. Just really bad. Anyway, here I am, 72 years old. No debt. I have no debt. And my credit score is 825. Bam, baby! Bam! I'm really proud of that. For myself. It makes me feel good about myself. Anyway, it's just an amazing moment. I was thinking of going over to Westchester and being at the place where it happened, but IMM is not there. The internet put IMM out of business because IMM was quoting Vanguard securities to Vanguard clients after 8 o'clock in the evening till 10:30, 11 o'clock. People were calling in to get quotations on Vanguard funds and where they closed that day. Well, you don't need to call any place now. You just pick up your phone and go on the internet, and there it is. And the other thing, Bell Atlantic. The timing of getting into Bell Atlantic was just crazy, unbelievable. They are losing their wire line. They lost their monopoly on the local and regional data transmission and calling. And with the Telecom Act of 1996, which Bill Clinton signed into law, but was sponsored and written by a Republican in Utah or Wyoming, I forget which. And Clinton said, yeah, we should deregulate. Why does Bell Atlantic, why do all these baby bells have monopolies? Oh, a monopoly, man. If you get a chance to work for a monopoly, go. Because the money is insane. It was really good. But today also marks the end of my PFA. That's a protection from abuse order. It was a 6-month order, and it caused, the breakup of my marriage and, the ripping away of my children from me. But today's the last day of it. It was a 6-month deal. My ex-spouse wanted 12 months. And there was no way she could claim the level of abuse that would require a 1-year order. That being said, I think it was an act of God, because it's the only way that my kids are going to be taken away from me. That's the only way. Other than a protracted, conflict that's in court, a protracted or extended court process, which would be insane and crazy expensive, and neither one of us could afford it. So, but as of tomorrow, the PFA is no longer in effect, and I can just go back and move into my own place right then and there if I wanted to. I wasn't going to, because I knew that my ex-wife had a new boyfriend, and if it wasn't for my emotional insanity, I'd have, it took me a year, or a little bit more than a year, to be okay with that, And our marriage was nothing, there was nothing much pleasant about it. She was an outright alcoholic, and I, in the beginning, in the first, 2 years of our being together, I wasn't much of a help to her as far as trying to stay off of it. I didn't realize how much of an alcoholic she was, and until we got into the marriage, and she'd drink half a bottle of vodka, half a fifth of vodka before she went into work. And then she didn't understand why she got sent home. This is a typical thing of alcoholics and drunks. They think that they can get drunk and conceal it. How stupid is that? And I thought I would think the same way when I drank. Anyway, so tonight my career does a 180, a complete turnaround. And it's only been 6 months since I walked off the job at UPS. And then it's only been since May 29th, a little bit more than a month since, I ended my photography career, which would be resurrected in 2 years, along with the destruction of my social life. My professional life was going whoop up. My social life was going in the dirt. Socially, my life has been in the dirt for a long time, but I didn't care that much about the social thing. I should have. Oh boy. We get too soon old and too late schmat. I think that's an old German Amish kind of saying. We get old too soon and we get smart too late. Anyway, wow, the visibility has actually gone down. You can't even see the strobes now. You can't even see the end of the runway. And planes are taking off. That's what that is right there. That's zero visibility. Not quite a whiteout, but it's very. I wouldn't get on an airplane in an uncontrolled airport that's taking off in these conditions. But even in a controlled airport, we found out at JFK in New York, one of the busiest airports in the world, that human error is going to rear its ugly head. Period. That's going to happen, and it almost killed over 300 people. That accident would have been closer to 400 people. A Boeing 777, which is a huge airplane, that can hold up to 400 people, without permission or misunderstanding, maybe they thought they had permission to cross a runway while a 737 just began its takeoff roll. Can you imagine the conflagration and the destruction of that accident? Oh, both airplanes are laden full of fuel. The fire that would have come from that accident would have been seen 100 miles away, at least, the smoke from that fire. Anyway, happy July 7th. It's an amazing anniversary for me. Beautiful, beautiful. You know, it was from God, because I didn't give up. This is my feeling on it. This is my outlook on it. God rewarded me, and my feeling is that God rewarded me because I didn't give up. And I treated my ex-wife with considerable decency, and she didn't return the favor. Matter of fact, she would get drunk, and then she was around me, or I was around her, without wanting to be. I had to be because the kids were at risk. She'd curse and yell and spit at me. It's just like, but something inside of me said, you're going to be better than that. It's weird. Anyway, peace out, y'all. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you have some good anniversaries coming up that you can celebrate and feel good about.